And I rise to take note of questions asked by the Coalition in question time today. And I will take some of the comments from those opposite in terms of where the Coalition stands in relation to energy policy. I mean, under this Labor government, power bills are up, emissions are up, productivity is flatlined. We're talking about billions of dollars in rebate with no intrinsic value for the taxpayer. And when those opposite stand up and purport that the sun and the wind do not cost anything, I would put to them, then why is it going to cost $1.33 trillion just to get solar panels and wind turbines? That's not transmission lines. $1.33 trillion the sun and the wind is going to cost. So when those opposite put these things to the Australian people and they stood up at the election and said they would lower power bills by $275, but then come into this chamber and say they were always expecting power prices to rise. Why did they lie to the Australian people then? Why did they mislead the Australian people into believing that they would have cheaper electricity under this Labor government? This government's reckless pursuit of net zero at any cost is costing Australian businesses, it's costing Australian families, it is costing everyday hard-working taxpayers. We've got this government taking over farmland, agricultural, beautiful, pristine parts of Australia to put in solar panels and wind turbines. This government is proposing to destroy our natural environment, all in the name of having what they call the cheapest form of energy. And I would say, Deputy President, if it is the cheapest form of energy, why have our power bills gone up 23.6% just now? So if this is truly the cheapest form of energy for the Australian people, we should be seeing costs coming down. We are not seeing costs fall. We are seeing costs rise. And we are seeing costs rise across the board because when electricity is expensive, it's more expensive to do everything. It's more expensive to produce milk. It's more expensive to transport our products. It's more expensive for businesses to keep the lights on. So what we are seeing is inflation going through the roof in our country. We are a wealthy, resource-rich nation, and this Labor government is driving us into poverty. We are going to see our living standards fall drastically. That's what productivity tells us. So when productivity flatlines, we know that our living standards are the next thing that are going to fall. And on this side of the chamber, Deputy President, we stand for everyday hard-working Australians. We stand for sensible policy in relation to energy. We stand for sensible policy in relation to the environment, and we will stand every single day with the Australian people to make sure that they have access to cheap, reliable energy. That is something that this Labor government is not able to deliver for the Australian people. I mean, even their own spending in terms of what they are doing to our economy, where they are spending at 4 times the rate of the growth of our economy. And we are expected to see here in Australia, Deputy President, a debt set to reach $1.2 trillion. Now, I have 3 children, and I worry because my 3 children are inheriting that debt. And I certainly worry about their children, which will be my grandchildren, and what that is going to mean for them. We were the lucky country. That's why my grandparents and my parents migrated here, for the opportunities that were afforded to all Australians who came to our shore. But when I think about that debt and I think about the impact that that is going to have on my children and my children's children, it scares me, Deputy President. This out-of-control spending is hurting everyday Australians, and it has to stop. Emissions are up, power bills are up, productivity has flatlined. This Labor government has to accept that they have the policy settings all wrong, and the Australian people are the ones who are paying the price.